All right, and we're back. This is episode 113 of the Beefy Boys Breakdown. We're going over UFC 282, Blachowicz versus Ankalaev. But I got to say, this first fight on this main card was my favorite fight on the main card. Especially
Really?
now that yeah.
Not the next one?
No, give me some Ilya Bryce Mitchell.
Okay. All right.
It's taken, but I say that having digested it for like 48 hours. Like, and we'll get to it. So jerking the curtain on the main card, we got undefeated Ilya Topuria, 14th ranked featherweight, minus 150 favorite. Coming in, Bryce Mitchell, ranked number 9 featherweight, plus 130 dog. And I gotta admit, I liked Mitchell coming into this one. I also kind of liked Mitchell just in general. Like, no, not necessarily all the flat earth stuff. But yeah, that shit is dumb. But pretty much everything else, to be honest, like everything else, I pretty much like about him.
I kind of like the matchup for Mitchell here. At least I did, beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, this was a really weird one because Topuria, he hasn't fought in a while, I feel like. Like, who was his last fight before this? I'm going to look that up. I'm not even sure. Ilya. How many Ilya? Jesus, I typed in Ilya because I was like, I don't know anybody else named Ilya, and there's like 30. Jesus. All right. So before this.
Jai Herbert.
Jai Herbert. See, that's what had made me question Topuria in this matchup because we hadn't seen him against anybody the caliber of Bryce Mitchell yet. You got win over Jai Herbert, Ryan Hall, Damon Jackson, Yusuf Zalal, all decent-ish fighters, but nobody even, none of those guys are in the same stratosphere as Bryce Mitchell.
So, yeah, that's the thing is like the level of competition here that jumped, and I love how Topuria and Paddy keep fighting on the same cards because they originally had that incident.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the last, for example, Bryce Mitchell's last 3 wins: Charles Rosa, Andre Fili, Edson Barbosa.
And the Barbosa win, his striking looked great.
Yeah, striking looked great. Answered a lot of questions, right? Everybody thought he was a one-dimensional grappler, and he goes out strikes with Edson Barbosa, one of the best strikers in UFC history. So it's like, I just liked Mitchell almost like kind of like a strength of schedule argument now. That's not always the end-all be-all. You can't beat somebody you haven't been put in there with, right? If you're like a Topuria supporter, so it's like it's hard to knock it, right? But if you're just trying to use history as a trajectory towards the future, I liked what Bryce Mitchell had already shown us.
No, I agree, man. And like we know how good his grappling is, and then we saw how good his striking looked like against Edson Barbosa. Now, granted, that was a really clean one too. As we end up learning it, diving into this fight, Topuria's striking is a lot better than we ever gave it credit for.
Oh, was it, man? Was it? And it was just Topuria fights with like the perfect blend of like
grappling, like close encounter striking ability with like long range leg kick, or not leg kicks, body kick, stuff like that.
See, I was gonna go less X's and O's and more just like he's mean with it, man.
Yeah, dude, the kicks he was throwing were mean as shit.
It's mean, it's intense, but it's totally under control. You know what I mean? It's a terrifying combination. There's a lot of guys that fight intense and fight angry and want to hurt you, but it's kind of usually wild. It's a little sloppy. This is like Navy SEALs, where it's like you're the meanest son of a bitch, but you're also the most precise son of a bitch, all at the same time. It's
like an assassin, pretty much.
And Bryce Mitchell is pretty like calm out there typically. And like that's what like I said, I'll pretty much let you handle the X's and O's, but it's like from just like a philosophical like what I understand about human beings, like Mitchell just was unable to match the intensity. I mean, I think anybody out there has played a sport where like you were a little flat, the guy you're competing with is the opposite of flat, and you just kind of have a hard time like meeting that level of intensity.
Yeah, for me, this was like less X's and O's and more of like a Topuria could do no wrong just because he was like a little faster, but could just get off anything he wanted. Like every technique he was getting to, and almost every position he was winning. And every time Bryce Mitchell tried to take him down, he failed, minus the one time, and then Bryce, as I recall, got reversed and put in the arm triangle.
Yeah, so round one, Topuria was just landing the biggest, hardest, cleanest rights, and Mitchell was not eating them well. Like every time
No.
Topuria would land one of those big rights, it looked like, I mean, any one of those could have potentially ended the fight. And
I thought one was going to.
Yeah, and I'll give Bryce credit for that. Bryce did show us his chin, and he showed us his heart, and he showed us that even when things aren't going well, he's not going to quit. He always talks about that type of shit. A lot easier to say than to do, right? Whenever
there was no quit in Bryce Mitchell. I will give you that.
No quit at all.
Which honestly let Topuria have a better showing. I feel like because it let him like keep working against like a super game opponent. So we kept seeing Topuria like evolve and have stronger techniques.
And just Bryce had no answer.
Couldn't do anything.
And yeah, you're right. Topuria could just do no wrong. Whatever he felt like doing to Bryce, he did to Bryce.
It was like a bully beatdown kind of a fight. Like he literally just beat him in every facet of the fight.
Yeah, the striking was way crisper, way stronger.
Yeah, cleaner too, right? Because like Mitchell was throwing back and still landing some stuff, but it was all like glancing and like nothing that was like super impactful that was hitting Topuria the same way it was hitting Mitchell.
And you could tell that Topuria was not scared of anything coming back his way. Like Mitchell really did nothing on the striking to, as they say, like earn his respect. Because Topuria was able to pretty much, I would say throw caution to the wind, but he didn't throw caution to the wind because he was still being like sound and precise and technical. But it was just it was all gas, no brakes. Like he really wasn't worried about anything coming back at him.
Right.
And once he was able to stuff a couple of takedowns, he was really able to open it up because that was really the only thing he was worried about.
It was the only thing Bryce Mitchell could do.
And once he proved that he couldn't do that, at least that night he couldn't, then, yeah, I mean, it was kind of just like nothing, nothing holding Topuria back at that point, right? It was all offense at that point. It opened up the floodgates, as they say. Mitchell did get one takedown like 4 minutes into the first round. He did control like a little bit, got 0 damage off, 0 sub attempts off, just kind of rode him, which was probably exactly what he needed to do in that moment. He had just got his ass.
Yeah, getting his ass whipped for that long, like that was a good way to recover to get to the second round with a little like less damage. All that being said, I mean, he gets just knocked down in round 2.
Yeah, he gets knocked down. I mean, he's busted up. He's cut. I don't think we'd ever seen Bryce Mitchell cut before. And I think he had a couple cuts, right?
He was like pretty beat up. Like honestly, he was pretty beat up.
The other eye that wasn't cut was swollen. Like he very beat up. Like it was not eating the shots well. I said not quitting, but just physically. Well, I mean, he was getting every time Topuria would land clean, Bryce would get wobbled.
Yeah,
like, he wouldn't go down, but like
he'd be kind of seeing stars.
Yeah, it was bad, man. And then what was surprising is once Topuria was able to knock him down in the second round, he decided he was no longer scared of Bryce's grappling, and decided to pursue a submission, which he ends up getting.
Yeah, arm triangle too, which is like one of those things where it's like you really got to either like catch a guy in it like quick, or you are just dominating the fight pretty much at that point.
Yeah, and like it all like the gap on the feet was wide. The gap on the ground was less wide, but Topuria was better at grappling too. At least that damaged version of Bryce. Like maybe if they're both fresh and they're both wearing gis on a mat, Bryce probably is a better grappler. But after that much damage, the grappling wasn't close either.
See, that's what I think happened is that Topuria realized like I have this guy so hurt, and he's got to be in crazy land, essentially dream world. So like I'm just gonna grapple with him. Like I know what I'm doing. He's gonna be unconscious of like all of his rightful defense.
Yeah, no, for sure, just in survival mode, not in like jiu-jitsu strategy mode. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. And I mean, so this one, like I said, it took me a couple of days to kind of process how I felt about it. Because like I said, I'm kind of a Bryce Mitchell fan. Like, he's not like my favorite fighter, but I like watching the guy fight. I was excited to see him fight. I viewed Bryce Mitchell as the A side on this fight. You know what I'm saying?
Me too.
I was super stoked. And this fight was super impactful for the featherweight division because a lot of people thought Bryce Mitchell, would fight for a belt one day. He still might. But I don't think many people were talking about Topuria like that. Now they are.
Right, now they are.
Topuria, man, just like I said, it wasn't a close fight. That's what's crazy about this. Like, it would have been one thing if he edged out of the decision, or even if he caught him. Like, if one of those big counters would have knocked him out in the first round, Bryce Mitchell fans could probably tell themselves, oh, everybody gets caught. You might even throw the fluke word out there, whatever. There's like no real, like I said, this is coming from a Mitchell fan. Like, admittedly, I was watching this fight through my camo colored glasses. There's no like saving grace in it for Bryce Mitchell. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no moral victory. There's no, oh, but he did this well, or oh, he won these positions. There's none of that. I mean, it was
kind of
probably the least competitive fight on this whole card.
Yeah, for sure, sure.
Rosenstruck Dawkins.
Okay, yeah.
But still, like, if you would have told me that, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I thought this was going to be the closest nail biter, competitive, tit for tat fight on the whole card. I was like, I didn't even know how to pick it. I picked Bryce Mitchell, but it's because I like Bryce Mitchell, and it's like, from the X's and O's, I don't see how anybody saw this coming.
I don't think anyone saw what happened coming, and I think that's why the takeaways for both of them, I mean, the rankings aren't updated, and I think they'll update soon, so maybe by the end of the show we'll be able to talk about it, but with Topuria being 14 going in and Mitchell being 8 going into it, it's like Topuria has to pretty much be 8 now. I mean, he beat the shit out of 8, and then if you look, 9, I'm sorry. And so then if you think about like how badly he just beat 9, should he not immediately get the shot at someone like Korean Zombie or Cater or Chikadze? I know Chikadze was supposed to fight, but
that's what's so weird about the featherweight division is that like Chan Sung Jung is ranked higher than Giga Chikadze. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's so weird to me. I do think Topuria Giga is a sick fight. Now, they're both Georgian, so they may not want to fight each other.
Odd, but true.
Cater Topuria. At this point, call me Nut Rider, call me prisoner of the moment. I think Topuria rolls through Cater after what we've seen of Cater lately. I think he rolls through Chan Sung Jung. You might have to jump all the way to Josh Fumble the title shot Emmett.
Well, Emmett's fighting Rodriguez for the title.
Is he?
Yeah, Arnold Allen's the guy that got left out, and then Holloway and Ortega are sitting around too.
Ooh. I mean, it will never happen. But if it did happen...
Topuria Allen?
Dude, if you did Topuria Max Holloway, it is less crazy than when they did Sugar Sean Peter Yan. That's
for sure.
How I'll juxtapose it.
For sure. That's
less banana land.
For sure. Yeah.
But in all fairness, and call this lazy, anybody in the top 8 is a fantastic fight. Or at least, I don't know, maybe it's not. Like, just Topuria, is this guy just going to fucking steamroll everybody? Because Bryce Mitchell is not bad. Like, Bryce Mitchell is very, very, very good.
Well,
I think Bryce Mitchell gives most of the top 6 trouble himself. And after seeing what Topuria did to him, I mean, like I said, I know I'm prisoner of the moment, Monday morning quarterback, knee-jerk reaction, say what you want to say. The only guy on this list that I'm saying Topuria, there's no shot that he steamrolls is Volk. Like, there's a scenario where it doesn't...
I think him and Ortega is a great fight. I don't think he can steamroll Ortega.
You're right, because Ortega's legendary chin, but also, all these guys have taken so much damage. Like, think about the war. Cater, Korean Zombie, Emmett, Ortega, even Yair.
Allen's the only one to not take that crazy amount of damage. Allen's the only one that's unscathed in there.
I know. I think the Allen one makes a lot of sense, because Allen, remember his fumbled call out, he shit on the whole division.
Yeah.
He's not helping the promotion at all. Do you really want that guy as your champ? A lot of people argue that Allen should have got the title shot, that he's, on third base holding the catcher's mitt, odd man out. I don't know, bro. I think if you give Topuria Allen, hey, that's an amazing fight. And if Topuria can beat Allen, I mean, he's one of the boys now. He's up in the loft. I mean, he
pretty much is looking at a title shot.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this too. Let's just go through Topuria's record. He joined the UFC in October 10th, 2020, so 2 years ago, right? His first fight.
Era fighter.
His first fight, Yusuf Zalal, who we were huge on. But remember, this was the fight where I was like, no, this dude's like a sick wrestler with good striking. Like, I think it's going to be trouble for Yusuf. And it was, but he beat Zalal in... sorry, yes, man. He beat Zalal in a unanimous decision. His only decision win in the UFC or in his whole career. The first 7 wins of his career, submissions. His next win, KO. And then you look at his fights since Zalal in the UFC, right? You have Damon Jackson, KO first round. Ryan Hall, KO first round. Jai Herbert, KO second round. Bryce Mitchell, submission second round, but could have been a KO as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the dude is sick. Undefeated. What is he? 13-0 now with 8 subs, 4 KOs, and the 1 decision.
Yeah. No, I'm sold, bro. Like, and it's one of those things where I hope they give him a crack at these top guys because I don't want featherweight turning into welterweight. Like I said, like I don't want Ortega being the new Colby or just like these spot sitting type divisions or the lightweight guys
where their ranking becomes more important than them fighting.
And like I'm too big for this guy.
Yeah. Like why would I fight him? He hasn't earned it. It's like, well, how the fuck can he earn it if you don't let him?
And that's why I like the light heavyweight division. That's part of what makes it so fun. They're all down to fight each other. I mean, they're all willing to extend that ladder down. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like I said, Arnold Allen doesn't have the reason why I think I'm zeroing in on the Arnold Allen one is because I do think Ortega would try to kind of big time Topuria, like, oh, I'm too big of a name, blah blah blah. The idea's booked. Max Holloway might actually be too big of a name. Like, that one might actually have some credence to it. Emmett's fighting for the interim belt.
Could you make him fight backwards and fight Ankalaev?
See, I don't see what's to gain from that.
Me too. I agree with you. I just wanted to ask.
Like, I want something bigger than that for Ankalaev. And I also wouldn't mind just seeing Take Out the Trash with Korean Zombie at this point. Like, I mean, I don't want to watch that, and it would probably be a Fight Night main event.
Fight Night main event, easy way to get Topuria his 5-round fight.
Exactly. Like I said, I wouldn't be stoked on it, but I do see how that makes sense from like a promotion standpoint. I also could see the UFC if I was Dana, I'd be pissed at Arnold Allen right now.
Because he undersold the division, so I'd be punishing him.
I'd be sending in Topuria to fucking, bend Allen over his knee and give him a spanking.
And if Topuria, think about it, win-win for the UFC, because even if Topuria loses, he's ranked back so far, it doesn't drop him in the chase, really.
Yeah, and, I mean, then for sure Allen
deserves his shot.
You're certified.
You made him earn it.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully don't say nothing stupid on the fucking mic afterwards and we really got
right, like, goddamn it, man. Can you just ask for a title shot already?
Also, bro, we haven't mentioned this. My jaw dropped when I was reminded of this piece of information. Topuria, 25 years old.
Yeah, super young. Was just a great Georgian wrestler that went to Spain and like became a Spanish citizen, so now he's like fights out of Spain, but like is a Georgian guy. So like Merab, Giga, you know what I'm saying, same thing. But like those people are tough, man. And so for us to have him this young, because like Giga's a little older, Merab's a little older now, and Merab always got shit on his whole career. Like he never got the push he deserved. He just had to just keep winning. For Topuria, it doesn't seem that way.
No, and Topuria is probably more marketable than all those guys.
Well, they can build the bad guy narrative off of him easy.
Yeah, and he wears the cool fucking... He dresses like a bad guy from a movie. You know, he wears the cool fucking drug dealer suits and the fucking sunglasses.
Right.
The chest tattoo and the chain. And he looks pretty fucking sweet.
Yeah, he looks like a... like, they can sell him as like a heel. And people want heels or baby faces. Credit to the WWE for making those terms, I guess, but...
Yeah, and, it's weird, though, because Topuria keeps going after Paddy because it's, like, real bad blood. They're in different weight classes. I mean, would that be sick? And we'll get to the whole Paddy situation. And
I think Topuria whoops his ass. We'll get there.
but also like, what does that do for the division? He's already gone up to lightweight once to fight Jai Herbert.
It makes no sense.
I think we need to kind of zero him in on featherweight. You know what I mean? I think it's I mean, also they could Cater's a fight night main event too. I just, goddamn Cater, this fucking schedule.
And I mean,
I think
we will get some clarity from Rodriguez Emmett. So if Emmett were to lose that, like, it wouldn't be crazy to say Emmett would fight Topuria.
You're right for sure. Or vice versa. You know, if Yair loses, that'd be a little clear path to the top. Dying to see what they do next with Ilya. Like, I don't think I've seen somebody do more for their career in one night of work than what I saw from Ilya on Saturday night.
I mean, I pretty much would have to agree, man. I mean, what you saw Ilya do was put his career in a whole new trajectory where, like, I mean, he's pretty much set up to, like, build himself through the top 5 now.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I mean, I could literally do a whole podcast on that fight in that division, and like we kind of pretty much did, but we got to keep it pushing. We got a pretty big one here. We got Darren Till, number 10 middleweight, plus 150 dog, fighting Dricus Du Plessis, minus 175, 14th ranked middleweight. God, Du Plessis, one of my least favorite fighters. I'm talking outside of the octagon. The guy is so cringe on a mic, so corny. So, I literally would not want to have the beer. Like, if somebody was like, hey, bro, we can go down to Dricus Du Plessis down at the bar. You want to go, like, have a beer and meet him? Like, I'd probably be like, I think I'll just, like, watch the football.
I'll pass.
Like, it just seems like an unlikable guy. That is not the kind of guy, like, I like to hang out around. And Darren Till's the exact opposite. I would go drink it all night with Darren Till.
One of the Smesh brothers.
Just also really weird. I don't know, bro. What was your kind of just overall thoughts on this one? Did you view it as like a get-right fight for Till or a building fight for Du Plessis, or probably a little bit of both?
I think it was both. I think it was one where the UFC was like, well, we need to see you come back. We need to see what level you're on. Du Plessis has been clamoring for a big-name fight because he feels he deserves it, being an ex-champion from his other organization, 18-2-1 record. Can't really say he's necessarily too wrong. But at the same time, Darren Till did kind of need that fight that he could be brought back into the UFC on, and you would think that like him being such a strong, powerful, like aggressive striker would benefit him, because if you can get Du Plessis on his back foot, he's not near as good because he likes to blitz in and be offensive and kind of press you to the cage and work his offense that way. So to me, it seemed like one of those fights where if Darren Till is Darren Till that we know Darren Till is, he should win this fight.
Yeah, we both picked Darren Till on this one. Also, Darren Till seems to say all the right things, but and this isn't hindsight 2020. I picked up on this a little bit, like in the fight build up. Like, it's almost like he doesn't believe the shit that he's saying, man. Like, he knows what to say.
He went on Instagram Live after the fight and was talking about how he just can't fit. He feels like he just can't pull the trigger in the octagon. Like, he sees the shots and he sees the openings, but he just can't let himself throw.
That's exactly what it looks like. It's just.
Well, the first round, I had the first round 10-8 for Du Plessis. I thought he beat the shit out of Darren Till. I mean, just like walked him around the cage, mollywopping him.
Yeah, at one point in the first round, the significant strike count was 60-0.
Granted, Till did come back slightly in the end of the first round, survived well.
My notes say like Till's end of round resurgence kind of prevented the 10-8. Like, I thought I
still gave it. I thought that was just an ass.
I don't have a problem with it. Like, you're probably right. Do we have the judges' scorecards?
Yeah, I got them right here. Yeah. So 2 judges 10-8, 1 judge 10-9.
Okay, fair enough. So
fair representation of how we felt.
For sure. I mean, definitely could have, maybe even should have been a 10-8. Just that Till had a little bit of success at the end of the round. Also, Mark Smith was a nut hair away from stopping that fight.
Oh, dude. He wanted to. He was literally just giving respect to Till, I think.
Till, how frustrating was it when Till would, be talking to the ref, I'm fine, but, not improving his position, not...
Right, say what you want to say, but, physically demonstrate it.
Yeah, no, it was... And a lot of those shots weren't the hardest, but they also weren't the softest. I don't know,
Now, all that being said, he did recover well through the rounds.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Or through the break of the rounds.
Round 2, Also, I think Dricus' cardio is sus.
Oh, it's ass, bro. He was done. He was done. He was tired at the end of the first round.
Yeah, and pretty much the whole second round I gave to Darren Till. I mean, he started to finally get his groove.
His inside elbows were nice. Yeah.
Those were sick. That like made me happy to see. And this fight was just so weird. Like this fight left. You said the last fight, or you were talking about the Raul Rosas fight left a good taste in your mouth. Like this fight left a bad taste in my mouth because every time I would like.
It did get fight of the night.
I can't say I agree with that.
Yeah.
I didn't particularly like this fight, to be honest. Because here's what. Round one, Duplessis looked good. Till looked like dog shit. Wasn't even really fighting back.
Yeah.
Round two, Till had a lot of success, but Dricus looked gassed and Dricus looked like shit.
Right.
At no point did we see like best on best. To me, that's like fight of the night. Like,
yeah, and round three was kind of like gas versus damage. Like I feel like the damage on Till and his gas tank depleting at the same time. And Dricus going for like a literal last fucking ditch effort takedown and getting it was like the difference of the fight.
So round two, after round two, I had it 19-19. You had it what, 19-18? Is that how that math works? And so, but like I said, I don't feel like either guy did. It was more like one guy looked like shit each round as opposed to one guy looked great in each round, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Now,
round three, they look more similar.
Round three was a weird one because I don't understand. I guess you were alluding, you think it's the damage.
I don't know what slowed Till down, but I assume
Till just randomly decided to get out of there. And sometimes I allude to that.
Well, he said he tore his ACL, but I don't know if that's true. But he said he felt like he did after the fight immediately to Bruce Buffer.
That would explain it because they're really Till was looking great in round two, and then round three he just kind of mailed it in, and I'm saying that with confidence. Like I said, I've said that before on the podcast, but I'll kind of allude to it or say, hey, maybe it was this, or maybe Till got the fuck out of there. That dude, Dricus didn't do shit. Dricus, I mean, he flattened him out. He wasn't under the chin at all, and he didn't even
It felt like a I quit kind of a choke.
It was. Like I said, I'm never this bullish on a you quit take. We watched him quit. And
mentally he's just not who he used to be.
Yeah, man. He just got out of there. He had enough. And like I said, maybe it was the ACL tear. But I mean, and I talk about this on the pod all the time, how Josh Emmett ruined my interpretation of ACL tears. Because it's now I just expect this sorry about it, keep going, but that would make sense. I'll be real. Till has a torn ACL. I don't want to say I'll give him a pass because there was only a couple minutes left in the fight. I would have liked to see him kind of try to find a way, but like I said, or just actually get subbed. He didn't get subbed, bro. Somebody can come do to me right now what Duplessis did to Till as a rear naked choke, and I'd be able to breathe just fine. It wasn't even cranking. He literally just got his it was right here. It was just
it was Till just decided he didn't want to be there any longer.
Yeah, and Till didn't want to do the requisite work to get out of that position. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I essentially agree with you.
He's not some jiu-jitsu ace. He's not some Olympic wrestler. He's a muscled up guy that was gassed. Yeah, he found his way to Till's back. But it wasn't some ultra slick move or anything. Like I said, I'm really shocked this got fight of the night because I honestly will go as far as to say I think both guys performed poorly. Earlier we were talking about Buckley. He lost the fight, but he performed well. This got a fight of the night with two guys who I don't think performed well. I don't think that was the best of either guy.
I'll give you that entirely, just because well, but it's did you see the best of Dricus Duplessis in the first round? Is that you saw maybe the best of him, but did it not hold up because he emptied his gas tank so crazily?
If that's his best, then I'm even more out because fucking he hit a guy 60 times unanswered and couldn't put him away, and then you gassed yourself out in the process. That's worst. This whole fight was worst of both worlds. The opposite of best of both worlds. You saw one guy, like a striker, gas and start wrestling, and then you saw another guy quit when he was finally starting to have success. It was weird, bro. I didn't like this one. That's why when you were saying, like, you like Ilya Bryce more than Till Duplessis, I'm like, by a mile. Like, for my viewing pleasure, by a mile.
I guess that's fair. I just, because Topuria had such a good performance, and, like, that's fair to say. I guess for fight of the night, though, I wouldn't say that, like, it was more the fight of the night just because Mitchell got dog walks.
Fight of the night when you hand out 7 bonuses? Like, it's just...
Yeah, it's true.
If they would have given Duplessis a performance of the night, I wouldn't really be talking.
Well, and you could argue the main event's the fight of the night because, I mean, we'll get there, but, you know, with that result, you got to kind of make the argument.
Ponzinibbio Moreno wasn't fight of the night?
I mean, was a great fight, especially because, you know, Ponzinibbio survives that clash of heads in the first one. I mean, we'll get there in just a minute, but, yeah, there is a lot more that goes into that fight. That's fair.
Let's get there now. I'm over this fight.
Let's do it now.
Yeah, right fucking now. We got Alex Morono, late minute replacement, plus 145 at 180 catch weight. Came in on 5 days' notice. Against Santiago Ponzinibbio, minus 170 favorite. Was supposed to fight Lawler. So it's kind of a weird fight, too. I don't really like what they're doing with Lawler right now anyway. I feel like they're just trying to, like, milk his, like, name for, like, trying to pad these mid pay-per-view cards, you know what I'm saying?
That is exactly what they're like. That's exactly what they're doing. Like, no question.
You know what I mean? And then it bit him in the ass because then he pulls out, and then we're stuck with Morono Ponzinibbio on a main card of a pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I mean, honestly, Morono comes out looking great, and I mean that from an X's and O's standpoint. His body looked like shit. He definitely was doughy around the middle. Definitely could tell it was a catch weight. He has a weird style, man. Morono has a weird style, and I don't just say that because like he seems like he'd be a very hard guy to fight. Like even really, not smoking the eye there, but I have to do a makeup tutorial with all that smoky eye, but yeah, man, Morono, he just seems like he gives people problems. Like every time I watch a Morono fight, it doesn't matter who he's fighting, they seem to just have a hard time figuring him out.
He's got really slick technique, man. Like you saw him throw a couple. Like there were times where he would like slip a punch, or like it would like land unclean, and he'd like spin and throw a back fist and answer from it. Or like there's one time in the end of the second round, I'm pretty sure, where Ponzinibbio throws a low leg kick that Moreno literally like checks and plants to check, and as he's checking, throws like a spinning elbow or something. So like he has like really good technique, and I think he sees the fight really well in the fight.
Yeah, 100%. He has the intangibles because like he's not a freak athlete. He's not like some imposing. He's not that fast. He's not that big. He's not that jacked. He's just like really good at like the sport of MMA. Like he's like he knows what to do and when to do it.
Great way to say it.
But yeah, I gave him round one.
I mean, he almost finished him at the end of round one.
Yeah, for sure. He was really outclassing him for the most part. Now round two gets a lot closer.
Yeah, thanks ESPN. I had a stream problem.
Okay, so this round
missing the first 3 minutes.
Yeah, well the first 3 minutes is whenever Alex Morono is really having the most of his success.
Okay, yeah, because I just saw Ponzinibbio taking off in the end of the round.
Yeah, and honestly, I gave round two to Morono. I do have it was close, but it was pretty much because of the part of stuff that you missed. He was landing the bigger, harder shots. He had probably more of those kind of big moments in the round. I'd even argue he won the damage round. But Ponzinibbio ended the round strong, and Morono's cardio started to fade at the end of the second round, and that's whenever Ponzinibbio was really able to start having success.
That explains a lot of the third round too, I guess.
Yes, 100%. Like right around when your TV started working is whenever Morono's cardio pretty much seemed to vanish.
Okay.
Like I said, 5 days notice, he wasn't in really fight shape. He didn't look like he was in fight shape. It kind of made sense that's about the 7.5 minute mark. You usually see if your cardio's sus, that's when it's going to start to show.
Fair point. And, great point.
And then round three, exactly what you just described is kind of the continuation of like the, Well,
Ponzinibbio did get hurt and starts to like circle away, and then Morono chased him and just ate like 2 or 3 massive counters that put him out.
Yeah, for sure, because I thought Ponzinibbio was losing round three until he wasn't. That's why I thought this should have been, fight of the night.
I'll give you
was
that for the
competitive,
comeback, the back and
the
forth
comeback.
nature.
Yeah, both guys actually performed well. Like, you know what I mean? Like, both guys had moments of success that didn't have to do with the other guy shitting the bed.
That's fair.
But yeah, I mean, so Ponzinibbio gets the knockout over Alex Morono. That's just another one where, like, I don't really lose any stock on Alex Morono. A, he performed well. B,
short or late notice replacement.
And I mean, he did a lot of things well. I think if Morono is in like a full 10-week fight camp, he's in good enough shape to go the full 15, and this fight looks a lot different. I think whenever he did get knocked out, it was one of those situations where he knew his cardio was fading, and he kind of just had to go for it, and he got caught going for it. You know what I'm saying?
Very good point. Very fair assessment, too. And I think he's a smart enough fighter to kind of know that about himself.
Yeah, like, I think, quite frankly, if you give him the choice, he would have rather gone out like that than, like, fatigue and get, like, ground out. You know what I mean? And, like, so, I don't know. Ponzinibbio gets the win, but this is the exact opposite of the Buckley, because, like, Ponzinibbio gets the knockout win, but he honestly performed like shit. He lost. You could argue he lost every round. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just got off a missile of a right hand and finished round 2 really, really well.
And I guess you can pat him on the back for the cardio, right? The cardio was there.
And I guess round 1 wasn't, like, the worst. Like, if he doesn't get dropped there, it's a way closer round.
You know what I'm saying? I thought round 2 was closer than round 1. I thought round 1 was Morono's best round. So.
Oh, no, I agree with you. I'm just saying if Ponzinibbio doesn't get dropped there, like, the round is much closer.
Oh, 100%. Ponzinibbio, he's 36 years old. You know, he's one of these guys that they just try to do these fun matchups with because he's the Spanish broadcaster and like.
See, that's the thing. He's on the inside team, so like he's gonna keep getting matchups and like keep getting good card placements.
Yeah, I know, and it's kind of annoying.
It is annoying.
And also, his ears are annoying.
God, his ears are wild, dude.
On Ponzinibbio.
He's got like my ears aren't even big enough to do it. Like he's got RDA ears.
Like Shrek ears. Yeah, man, I don't know. I didn't like this card placement. I didn't really like this matchup. I didn't like the original matchup with Lawler either. You know what I'm saying? So I was just kind of all the way out on this like whole time slot. You know what I mean? Regardless of who ended up being in it. Any closing thoughts? I want to keep it pushing to the Paddy the Baddy controversy.
Yeah, I would love to do that. I mean, I'll let you go ahead and take off and introduce it and kind of introduce your thoughts on it and maybe get us into round 1, then I'll come back with my analysis.
I did think that Paddy probably had a little more to offer, a little taller, a little longer, a little slicker.
Perhaps a better striker with good enough grappling where it wasn't going to be a big deal.
Yeah, for sure. But man, when this fight started, what's so crazy to me is like there's a million discussions going on about this fight right now, have been for the past 48 hours. Nobody brings up what I thought was the number one point to bring up. I haven't heard anybody bring up the left hooks Jared Gordon was landing whenever the fuck he wanted to land them.
Yeah, I mean his left hand was pretty much free the whole night, night long.
Like it was landing so hard, so clean, so often. I never hear anybody. I literally haven't heard that like brought up once. Which,
you know, the first round, close, not that close, but close enough where if you're like a Paddy Dick rider, that I can see you making that case. And I also think his hair makes the strikes he eats look so much worse. Granted, they are landing clean. Not going to say he's not eating big shots. I'm just saying, and he also did, like, his face at the end of the fight didn't look that beat up, which I don't know if that's because he gets beat up so much that it doesn't really happen or what, or if Gordon's power isn't quite as much as we think, or Paddy's hair is, like, overselling these shots. But I do think Gordon took round 1, 10-9.
See, I thought round one like really wasn't close, bro. Because I mean, so the big left hooks, like how many was there? There had to be like 5 big clean left hooks. I mean, there was so many.
Oh God, the second one was like I couldn't believe Paddy didn't go down from it.
And then he ended the round on top, like on the ground.
Well, Paddy got the takedown and got reversed. So
Yeah,
I mean, but it's.
that goes
I'm just saying Gordon didn't end up on the ground by his choice.
fair, but once he got there, and Paddy's supposed to be the superior grappler, like
Well, Paddy did try to almost go triangle choke there at the end. And there was a mission control. Like, he did have some good.
Close.
Huh?
Wasn't close. That sub was not close.
No, I know, but at least he's active off his back.
Yeah, and then I mean, I thought the best thing Paddy did the whole round, he landed like 1 or 2 straight rights and had some calf kicks. Like I'll be real.
The kicks were nice.
I didn't really know how this. I didn't like expect this to be controversial. I was like, oh shit, Jared Gordon just won round one. Like I would have bet my left nut. Like I just felt so like I don't have the word close.
I thought 1 and 3 were pretty obvious.
I have the word war, so I guess war close, kind of splitting hairs, but I like Jordan. Or I said Jordan.
Jordan
Gordon, and I feel pretty good about it. Now round two.
Round 2 is very close. Let's see, it's the closest round of the fight, in my opinion.
All right, bro. And mind you, I picked Paddy. I'm not coming at this from some Paddy hater perspective. I'm gonna let you go first because whatever Paddy did in round 2, it didn't resonate with me. I wasn't a big fan of his work in round 2. Apparently, other people were. I will take Jared Gordon's damage. The big hooks were still landing whenever the fuck he wanted them to. What the fuck did people like so much about Paddy's round 2? Because like I'll be real, it went over my head. It just doesn't resonate with me. There's a few different ways I can word that. I don't see it. I'm not seeing it.
Essentially, I only give him round 2 based on the very end of the round where he leads with the huge flurry and Gordon gets nothing off. Because at that point, I thought it was pretty much a 50-50 round.
Yeah, I didn't.
Because Gordon only stung him probably once in that round, and Paddy also got off a few good shots of his own that I thought kind of were making Gordon be a little bit more tentative in that round.
And Gordon also got a takedown in that round. Also, never hear anybody talk about that. I know didn't do a ton with it, but this is a weird one to me. This is one, like I said, I need to rewatch this fight. I wasn't even all fucked up or anything for watching it. I don't even have the word close in my notes. I gave it to Gordon.
Oh, see, I thought 2 was close. I thought 2 was close.
I'm alone on that. Nobody seems to agree with me. I need to rewatch it. I'll give that little
see, the scorecards are super odd from the judges here too, right? Because let's see, I got them. Where are they? Right here. So one judge gave round 1 to Paddy. No, I'm sorry, 2 judges gave round 1 to Paddy, which I can't understand.
In all fairness,
even one judge is hard for me to understand.
I personally like Paddy's round 1 more than round 2, but once again, I think I'm alone on that one.
Okay, yeah. See, I thought round 2 was way better for Paddy. I just thought he wasn't getting rocked near as much. Like the amount of shots he was getting in round 1 were like, damn, the damage is like it's going to be hard for you to keep it even close.
Fair point.
Then round 2, every judge scores round 2 for Paddy, which once again, I don't know about that. I'm surprised one judge didn't go give that round to Gordon, if not 2 judges.
Well, and there was this thing where like Paddy was like throwing more but landing less. Like
yeah,
it was the
and not landing as clean.
Yeah, exactly. Like Jared Gordon would throw way less often than Paddy, but he would land way harder and way more often than Paddy. I value that. Like that's super efficient.
Well, like total strikes come out 97 to 100, so they both landed about the same, but Gordon threw 50 less strikes.
Yeah, that's my point. But people view that as a bad thing, and I view it as like a good thing. Like when Jared would throw, he would land.
Well, and he also had 6 minutes of control.
Yes, exactly. And so I valued Gordon's accuracy, power, and damage more so than I valued Paddy's volume.
Okay, now tell me how you scored round 3, because at this point, 2 judges have this fight 20-18 for Paddy. One judge has it 19-19.
The 2018, yeah, that kills me, bro. Like I'll die on the very tip top of that hill for sure. Round 3, I mean, I thought it was snoozy. It was snoozy.
It was snoozy. And I was amazed, too. I thought Paddy should have been going for it.
Yeah, because I thought Paddy was down 2 rounds.
I thought it was either 1-1 or he was down 2-0. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't think there was a chance he was up in the fight.
Not a chance in hell. I mean, Jared Gordon had him in clinch control and got a takedown pretty much the whole round. I mean, I give it to Jared Gordon. I'm not saying it was a fantastic round or really fun or he beat the shit out of Paddy. None of those. But I do think he won the round. Like, in a snoozy round, who's doing anything? And the answer is Jared Gordon.
You know what sucks for Gordon in that aspect, too, is that I guess it doesn't because, like, the 2 judges that scored round 1 for Paddy gave this round to Gordon. That doesn't even make sense.
There's a judge that gave round 3 to Paddy.
And didn't give round 1 to Paddy.
Like, I just don't.
So they all have the same scorecard, but 2 judges have the same scorecard, and one has like almost the opposite.
What did Paddy do in round 3? Like, real talk. Like what am I missing?
He didn't do anything.
He didn't do anything.
Granted, Gordon really didn't either, but Gordon definitely got off better damage in round 3.
And was in control. Like, all you hear Dana talking shit about Gordon's round 3. Guess what? If you think Jared Gordon didn't do a lot in round 3, you're right. But guess who did less? Paddy. So it's like, how do you? Oh, Jared Gordon didn't do enough in round 3, but the guy that did less than him did enough. Like, I literally can't conceive it, bro. Like, I can't get myself there. Like, I can't.
I probably saw 15 UFC fighters that tweeted their scorecards of 30-27 for Gordon, and probably another 10 that tweeted 29-28, if not 30-27. I did 29-28 on the edge of a 30-27.
Like, after this fight, I watched this alone, so I was like...
And then Paddy to say it's not close is like, bro, you got saved.
After this fight, I was like, wow, I just watched Paddy the Baddy lose. What the fuck's going to happen now with this hype train gone? Like I was like...
Oh, yeah, like waiting for the decision. You're like, oh, well, he lost.
Yeah, like I wasn't even like nervous. Like I wasn't even like, oh, shit.
I don't think the commentary booth was necessarily nervous about that either.
I was like, we just watched Paddy the Baddy lose to Jared Gordon. Like, this is one of the like most worst outcomes of a hype train I've really seen. Because, like, even if Hamzat, okay, some people had Hamzat losing to Gilbert Burns. That's not the same as losing to Jared Gordon.
No. Very different. Very, 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 very different.
So the scorecards come out. Unanimous decision, 29-28 Paddy. Yeah, and then Paddy gets on the mic, saying, I knew I was up 2. I gave the third one away. So Paddy, even delusional last, said that he lost round 3. So that judge...
Can eat all the dicks.
But
at least that judge got round 1, right?
According to you. But
well, no, that judge scored round 1 for Gordon.
Oh, for Gordon? Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
I scored round 1. I scored 1 and 3 to Gordon and 2 to Paddy.
Okay, fair enough. And then, yeah, just overall weak. Just overall.
Paddy did break his foot, but like, I don't think it's a serious break, like to the point where he couldn't walk or anything. And it's like he even didn't mention it in his post-fight interview. So
yeah, and then just like I don't know, bro. I'm over it.
Also, who does he fight? Like Ferguson's 15, Connor's 14, Hinata Moicano's 13. You're not giving him a ranked guy. He's not ready.
But also, like that's another thing. We talk about Paddy like he's Raul Rosas. Paddy has been fighting professionally for 10 years.
Yeah, but he's 28.
Yeah, that's not young. Like, what the fuck? Like, in the NBA, you're, like, done by 28. Like, I know it's different, but, like...
He probably still has 5 or 6 good years before he's, like, old.
Oh, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you're acting like he's some prospect. He's not a prospect.
No, he's not.
You can't treat him like a prospect.
No, that's my problem with it, though, is he's not a top 15 guy. So, like, what do you do?
That's what I'm saying. We're saying the same. He's mid.
Yeah, he's mid.
Like, Paddy the Baddy is mid. And... doesn't get spoken about like he's mid, gets some weird pass, and don't get me wrong, I like the song, I like the haircut, I like the laugh, I like the YouTube content. I understand the appeal, but I don't understand it to the point of like delusion. Like there's a lot of NBA players that I think are like interesting guys that I'm not like, oh, this guy's better at basketball than Kevin Durant, or like, let's put him, on the All NBA team, or like, you can like a guy's gimmick without like saying that he's a world beater. Like I just don't understand the conflation between the two, and then the Connor comparisons. And I mean, I think he's way closer to a Sugar Sean than a McGregor. And I like Sugar Sean. Like, that's what I'm saying. You can like a guy without like thinking that he's better than other guys. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't understand like
why they have to be the champion for you to like them. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't have to be. They don't have to even be a top 5 guy for you to like him.
Yeah, like, why do we have to pretend that Paddy's better than he is because he's good on a mic and has a funny haircut?
Right, like he has a great personality. It doesn't mean he's the best fighter.
Yeah, seriously. Like, I love Money Moicano. Like, I don't think he's going to be a future.
Moicano was money.
Like, there's so many guys I like. You know what I'm saying? There's so many gimmicks I like. There's so many. Like, hell, one of my favorite fighters is Angela Hill. She does like a 50% win percentage. Like, I don't understand why. I don't know, bro. It's just like it doesn't match up. And like, you're right. Like, what are they gonna do with Paddy? Because I think they gave him
I know.
a contract.
I know who he fights next.
Lay it on me, because I feel like I'm being like Debbie Downer. Like, I'm not having fun with this. Like, I really am like kind of like bummed on this whole situation. Like, as a fan.
You have him fight Grant Dawson next. Exactly. Not a name you need to know, but Jared Gordon lost to Grant Dawson. Dawson not ranked. It's the only thing that makes sense.
No, I'm saying Grant Dawson dog walks Paddy. He's so much better.
Yeah, but at least Paddy like has the grappling advantage in that fight. Now, granted, maybe that's what you need. Maybe you need a guy like Grant Dawson who only has his 1 loss, 1 draw, and is like 18 wins. Like, dude has the craziest good record that you don't know his name. So let him have the opportunity to steal this hype off of Paddy.
You're right. That's what we need to do, because Paddy's.
That's what it's about.
He's gonna just leave us all disappointed. Not me. Like, disappointed is not the word. Because I mean, we've said from the jump that Paddy's not that guy.
I think we understand what it is.
We understand what it is. I just. Like I said, people can like him. People can buy his merch. They can watch his YouTube channel. But like, let's not act like he's better at fighting than these other guys.
That's exactly how I feel, man. Is like, and now, like, you ask the question, what do you do with Paddy? You pretty much have to like use him to build someone new. And if he keeps winning, like if he does beat Grant Dawson, give him Moicano. Let Moicano get that push. Keep selecting fighters.
Do you think that the UFC is like willing to kind of just like cut their losses on the whole Paddy experiment? Like, it almost seems like they're more likely to double down.
I think they are. And that's a huge problem. But like at the same time, what are you gonna do?
Like, that's why I'm so like kind of bummed, because like this isn't the last time we're gonna pay $75 to watch Paddy, and I'm not looking forward to the next time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's annoying, and it's almost impossible to have this conversation with all the James Krause stuff going on. Act like, but it's hard to not like connect some dots, right? And like, how legitimate is this whole thing?
Or like, how much money does the Vegas State Athletic Commission, NSAC, the sanctioning body of the bout, make by having Paddy win this fight and come back to Vegas, potentially still being undefeated in the UFC, so they can keep selling that brand and make more money at a higher gate?
And apparently, I think it's Doug Crosby, the same guy. Most people are saying he had the worst scorecard in the Paddy fight.
He was the one that scored 2 and 3 to Paddy.
And he was also apparently the night before, Friday night, he like scored a fight 50-45 in Bellator.
Oh yeah, the championship fight that was between Stotts and the other guy, Sabatello.
Yes, and apparently that one was like just as egregious.
Everyone said that fight was like 48-47, like for sure.
And he scored at 50-45 for the other guy. And I don't know, Ariel's been going in on Doug Crosby for like the past 48 hours, and I'm here for it.
Good for Ariel. That's who we should be calling out after this. Is not Paddy. It's not him who scored the fight.
You're right. And also, like, if you're going to be the big like boisterous, kind of Chael Sonnen-esque type of personality. You say exactly what Paddy said out
Yeah,
there.
it wasn't close.
It's not how I feel. It's not what I wanted to hear in
But
that
you gotta
moment.
you gotta control your narratives.
Exactly, and he did a good job of that. Just you talk about bad taste in your mouth, bro. That one stunk.
Hey, what weight does Dober fight at? Drew Dober? He's 70, isn't he?
No, he's 55.
I think
he fights Bobby Green. I think like next week.
See, I think Bobby Green or Dober is a fun fight here for Paddy as well.
Bobby Green, Paddy's the fight.
Okay, there you go. But I think between Dawson, Dober, and Bobby Green, I mean, any of those three guys are fun to fight Paddy. Good UFC names, strong veterans, and I think Paddy probably loses to any of the three of them.
Yeah, I see a scenario where Paddy could maybe submit Bobby Green, but also not if he gets his chin touched 30,000 times first. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. Is Pimblett Green a fight night main event? Is that a 5-round fight?
Sure, you could do that. And that's the kind of stuff that I'm not mad at that. I'd be happy for Bobby Green to get that kind of shine, especially after doing the Islam fight and all that heavy lifting. Dan Hooker, I have a sneaky suspicion it may end up being Dan Hooker.
Hooker Pimblett's fun.
Hooker Pimblett's fun. It sells. The lead up would be fun. Hooker's already been Hooker did some smart little marketing himself. He was like, no, don't give me Paddy. That's too easy of a fight. Like, I would just walk through that guy. He called for it by not calling for it.
Right, yeah, did the opposite of what everyone else did, but still used his name. Smart.
Yeah, I thought it was very smart. And I see it that'd be kind of a cool to see Hooker get I would view that as a get right fight for Hooker. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I think Hooker probably puts the hands on him. Let's get to this light heavyweight title real quick. I mean, there's a lot more we could say. I feel like we've made our position kind of known on this whole Paddy.
I think we're probably the nicest people to Paddy through all this for the most part, aside from a few other pundits I've heard that talk about it. But overall, my aggression is toward the judges, and I'm also not sitting here thinking that Paddy was the next champion. Like, I never thought that. So I'm not let down or disappointed in the sense of oh no, I'm realizing he's not who I thought he was. He's still who I think he was. Maybe just not even as good as I thought.
Yeah, you're right. And it's just it sucks because exactly who does it? If you could script this out and the whole Paddy thing, if this story had a happy ending, man, would that be fun? But it's not gonna happen. It's she's just not that into you, bro.
Yeah.
It's just not gonna happen. You're barking up the wrong tree. 100%. And now let's keep it pushing. Believe it or not, we got a light heavyweight title on this card. But we leave with no champion. Womp, womp, womp. We got Magomed Ankalaev, minus 345 favorite, number 4 ranked light heavyweight against Jan Blachowicz. I keep wanting to say Yuri Prohaska, so bad.
I know, I miss Yuri already. Shout out to the man right here on my left.
Yeah, seriously, the people's champ. Blachowicz, plus 285 dog, coming in ranked 3, 39 years old at this point. This was set up for Ankalaev, I feel like.
Yeah, and also, fuck Glover for trying to, I raised this point last week, and he brought up a good, counterpoint of, why would he do that at that point in his career? But, kind of trying to pick his own fight. Now, granted, it worked out well for him, seeing as how he's now lined up with Jamal Hill and what that's worth, but... Yeah, so stoked. And we honestly have a 4-man light heavyweight tournament now built out, but that is all due to how this fight plays out, which is that I thought this was kind of cut for Ankalaev, right? Because striking-wise, he can pretty much strike with Blachowicz and is defensively sound enough where he's not going to let Blachowicz drop a bomb on him, at least you'd think. And so he has the wrestling advantage, at least you'd think.
In my opinion, this whole fight comes down to 1 and 5. I think
how you score. Yes, agreed. No, I fully agree. I think 2 and 3's close, but I think
I keep hearing round 3 be the topic of conversation. All the podcasts and pundits and everybody's acting like 3 is the controversial round. I thought round 3 was very easy to score. I thought round 1 was very hard to score, and then whether or not round 5 was a 10-8, I think is super relevant as well. I don't understand all the controversy surrounding round 3. every podcast, anybody out here tweeting, talking about this is all talking about round 3, and I think rounds 1 and 5 are the more kind of murky, kind of linchpins of how this ended up taking place. If you ask me, I don't know, man.
Well, I thought diving into it, one was a lot of like feeling out process, a lot of leg kicks, a lot of like jabs and like small shots that weren't really going to be fight changing.
Which makes it hard to score, right?
Exactly, yeah. It was almost like both guys like realized like 5-round fight. Let's not force it here. Let's be smart.
Like I literally had to I was literally going back and forth. Like I started to write one guy's name, and I was like, no. On second thought, it's this other guy's name. I scored a 10-9 on Ankalaev. The body kicks and the pressure. I mean, I'm really grasping at straws if I have to go to body kicks and pressure to give a guy a round. Like you said, nothing really impactful for either guy was landed. No takedowns were landed. I thought Ankalaev was kind of moving forward, being a little more active. Like I said, the leg kicks, the body kicks.
Bro, I literally wrote better kicks, octagon control. Ankalaev 10-9. Yeah,
for sure. But, I mean, you could argue that.
I think the case for Blachowicz is there if you're going to make a damage case and say maybe he checked one or two of those kicks that, like, maybe I didn't notice in the moment. I don't know. Yep. It's that close of a round.
No, 100%. Now, round 2 is whenever Blachowicz starts going to this calf kick heavy approach, and it yields great dividends.
Yeah, Ankalaev can't even fight the same style of fight.
Obliterates his calf in like 2 or 3 kicks. I mean, visibly, because sometimes the guy will start limping, whatever, but this was like visible. It was turning purple. It was changing shape. I mean, he ate that leg up, which, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if we've ever really seen that from Blachowicz before.
When he fought Reyes, he kicked him in the body and had like the huge rib bruising from one kick.
That's right. I think, is Blachowicz's kicks underrated?
Very. Super.
Super underrated, right? Like, maybe not the prettiest kicks or the flashiest, like...
They land hard, though.
Yeah, they do damn.
And I don't think he throws, like, the most necessarily, so you don't really think about it in fight preparation. So you're like, oh, I'll just eat the few kicks he throws, and then you eat one, and you're like, holy fuck.
Yeah, seriously, like, he's not thought about as, like, this leg-kicking guy, but some of the best in the business, if you ask me.
I mean, he's out there hurting people, pretty much changing the way a fight is fought with him, so...
Now... Give me your assessment of round 3, because like I said, I thought round 3, I really saw no difference between round 2 and round 3. I thought round 2 and round 3 were almost identical.
So I thought...
all the pundits are saying, like, oh yeah, round 2 was Blachowicz's best round. Round 3 is somehow very controversial. And I saw them as very similar rounds. So, like, I'm literally lost. Like, I'm actually asking a question here.
I think... Now, granted, I think the leg kicks win the round for Blachowicz. I think damage is definitely on Blachowicz's side in round 3, and I don't even think that's even controversial.
He ate up the other leg. Ankalaev switched stances, so by the end of round 3, Ankalaev had both legs destroyed.
Right, and I don't think it's controversial to say that damage-wise, Ankalaev really didn't get off much damage in round 3. He did get the takedown at the very end and continued to, like, push into grappling situations. So maybe octagon control. The takedown comes with, like, 10 seconds to go, so it's not worth anything. He can't do anything with it. So for me,
had stopped a couple of takedowns that round too.
Like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So for me, I once again had it to Blachowicz. So I had a 29-28 Blachowicz after the 3 rounds, and I could see a 30-27 for Blachowicz.
Yes, we're in lockstep so far.
Now it's going to become very important because Ankalaev realizes I need to wrestle in round 4, and I think that round's clearly his.
Yeah. Yes, 100%. This fight had like chapters, right?
Yes.
Chapter 1 was the filling out process. Give it to either guy. I'm not dying on a hill. It doesn't really matter. Rounds 2 and 3 were the leg kick Blachowicz rounds, like that very distinct like chapter. Rounds 4 and 5 are the Ankalaev decided to go grab a singlet out of his locker, and it was wrestling mode. And this fight had very distinct like chapters.
You know what this fight reminds me of so much with the scoring or how it's scored is Volkanovski-Holloway 1. Because rounds 1 and 2 in that fight, round 1's a real like slow feeling out process that a lot of people scored to Volk because they said Holloway was too inactive. Round 2, he's eating Holloway's legs, so you score it to Volk. Round 3, he's still eating the legs, but Holloway starts to respond, and it gets to like this real like 50-50 kind of like, well, who won this round? And then 4 and 5 are Holloway. So it's one of these same things where of like Blachowicz dominates like not the start, but maybe does enough to win the start because it's so inactive and such a feeling out process. Dominates the early middle, and then Ankalaev dominates the middle end.
Yeah, 100%. And so yeah, round 4, I thought it was 10-9 on Ankalaev. Not a ton of damage, but some decent ground and pound. Like it wasn't
Yeah.
nothing. Like it wasn't snoozy. He
Right.
was effective. Over 3 minutes of control. I think he only got the one takedown because he only needed the one.
He only needed the one, yeah.
Once he got him down, he stayed down. So I think round 4 is probably the least controversial round to score. Rounds 2 and 4 were like clear as day. I thought round 3 was clear as day too, but apparently nobody agreed. Now, round 5 gets murky not on who won it, but on how much they won it by.
Well, so I had it 10-9 for.
You had it 10-9.
Yeah, I didn't go 10-8 just because Blachowicz continued to fire back throughout the entirety of the round. Now, did I have possible 10-8 in my notes? Yes, I did. But
fair.
I thought Blachowicz did just enough to stave it off. Now, granted, I mean, I see the case. I don't have a problem with the 10-8.
Well, I thought Ankalaev got a lot of damage off. Like,
I mean, he got to land left hands to the head for like 2 minutes straight.
Like, way more damage than round 4. An extra minute of control time than round 4 is like 4 minutes, a little over 4 minutes. So, I mean, that's what is it? Duration, dominance, and damage? I mean, the 3 Ds. I mean, the entire round, plenty of damage and complete dominance. Yeah, I didn't really value Blachowicz's shots from his back. Like, I thought that was he really should have been worked on, like, improving his position.
There was one time he was throwing some back elbows against the fence too that I thought kind of landed some, like, a couple of them landed really clean, and I was like, well, those probably hurt. Granted, Ankalaev seemed unfazed by him.
Yeah, exactly. And they didn't really have any impact on, like, what took place. Yeah, I mean, I felt pretty good about giving Ankalaev 10-8 in round 5.
So you had it 48-46 Ankalaev, right?
I did.
I had it 48-47 Ankalaev.
Yeah, and so one judge gave it 48-47 Blachowicz, which the first 3 rounds with no 10-8. See, this one I'm not really up in arms about.
No, I think the draw's right. I see the case for all 3 scorecards, and all 3 are different.
Yes, exactly. And I think this coming on the heels of the Paddy decision, people were just already over the judges. So, like, people are acting like this is controversial too. Now, granted, is it anticlimactic? Is it blue balls? Is it no fun at all to have a title fight end in a draw and Dana White takes the belt right back out of the octagon over his own shoulder? Yes, that is not what anybody paid $75 for. And do people have right to be upset about that? Sure.
You do get a cool 4-man light heavyweight tournament now, though, because they obviously have to run it back in rematch.
A Grand Prix.
But
I don't have any problem with it. So one judge scored 48-47 Blachowicz. Like I said, if I give round 1 to Blachowicz, which I almost did, I literally have it scribbled out in my notes, and then you don't give Ankalaev the 10-8, that's my scorecard. So like I said, I see how we got there.
Yeah.
I don't hate.
I mean, my scorecard's literally just round 1, which I said was so close that I could see it for Blachowicz. If that round changes, that's my scorecard.
Exactly. Which I don't think any of us have a problem.
One judge has your scorecard, 48-46,
yes.
Identically.
Which I think is fair and within bounds, and I think I laid out a pretty decent little case for it. And then the draw is what he had the 10-8, but he gave round 1 to Blachowicz. Is that how they got there?
Yes, exactly right. So
okay.
Yeah.
I was a nut away from having that scorecard myself.
Right, and I'm like, thank God no Doug Crosby here. It's Mike Bell, Derek Cleary, and Sal D'Amato. Sal D'Amato has the 47-47. Derek clearly agrees with you, 48-46, and then Mike Bell has the 48-47 for Blachowicz. I think all 3 cards are easily justifiable. I don't really have a problem with them all being different. Mine's different from those 3, which just shows you how crazy close this fight was. I think if I had to pick like one FC style, just like pick a winner, Ankalaev, but I don't mind seeing him run it back.
Yeah, all right. Now my follow-up question to you is, how do you feel about each guy's like response and how they handled it? Because Ankalaev was kind of saying like, I got screwed, I got robbed, whatever, kind of threw it, like pouted a little bit. And then Blachowicz came out and said that like, I think Ankalaev won, but he kind of took some prodding and some poking. Joe Rogan said on the mic live in front of both of them that he thought Ankalaev won. Ballsy move by Joe. I don't think that it's just Yeah, like I don't think Blachowicz should have handled it that way because like there's definitely an argument that he won.
If you're Blachowicz, do you not say one judge saw the fight for me, one judge saw the fight as a draw? Like, of course we run it back. One judge saw it for him. Like, it wasn't like there was a point deduction or anything like that. It was literally the judges saw the fight 3 different ways, 3 different scores, and it came out to be a split draw.
And then Ankalaev acting like you got somehow robbed, screw jobbed, or whatever.
You didn't do enough to win it outright.
Yeah, like, hey, pal, the first 15 minutes of the fight didn't really go your way.
Right.
You know, winning one round.
I thought both guys did themselves a disservice, and I think that's partially also why Dana in the post-fight interview backstage said, listen, I don't want to see that fight again. It sucks, at least not for a belt. So they'll run it back as a 3-round fight, which would be way better because Ankalaev can't sit back and wait to like get his legs chewed up. So that's going to be a more fun fight. But then Dana, of course, responds with Glover and Jamal Hill will fight for the belt since it's still vacant. We can't just leave it vacant. So
yeah, and I have a pretty interesting take on that.
I like Jamal Hill.
I'm a big Jamal Hill fan. He's quickly become one of my favorite fighters inside and outside of the octagon. Love his social media, love his story, love kind of what he represents. He's a great dad. I mean, he checks a lot of boxes for me as a fan. However, if I wasn't a Jamal Hill fan,
yeah, how's Rakic not getting this shot versus Teixeira?
I'd be thinking like, what the fuck? Why is this fight being made? Me personally, as somebody who's gonna spend my $75 on it, sign me up. I'm stoked. We've been wanting Jamal Hill to get a title shot and had podcasts talking about his path to a title shot, and I mean, we both kind of believe we're both kind of Jamal Hill guys, so I don't think we have a problem with it. But if I wasn't like a Jamal Hill fan, if I was a Rakic fan or and the whole Anthony Smith kind of got shafted in this situation, which I know you're not necessarily mad about. But, I don't know, bro. Yeah, the whole year thing. I mean, how long is he gonna be out for? I mean, I guess just overall, one sentence. What's your overall thoughts on how the UFC handled the whole Glover Sweet Dreams matchup?
It's probably the only thing you can do. I don't know what Rakic is doing or why that wasn't the fight made, but I do understand Hill has like this impressive record in the UFC and only has the one loss to Paul Craig where I thought he got his like literally elbow like ripped out of place, but turns out just dislocated, snapped right back in. So kind of one of those freaky fluke losses, and we know that if he fought Paul Craig again, he probably beats the shit out of him. So for me, it's almost like if he doesn't even have that loss, he's probably 4-3 or 4 right now. I don't hate it. And I do think for Glover, it's a matchup where like Glover can get back to the belt, which Glover versus Ankalaev, fun matchup, weird matchup, something we haven't seen. Glover versus Blachowicz, match we have seen, not near as entertaining, and Yuri just sitting in the wings lurking. Now, granted, Yuri's shoulder was so messed up, I don't know if he comes back the same.
It's so weird too because like all the different matchups look so different. Like I think Jamal Hill is obviously the best striker out of all of them, but you could also argue not including Prohaska, but out of the remaining, right?
But the dangerous thing is Hill has the touch of death, and like if he lands on Prohaska, which Prohaska will let you land on him, can he eat that shot?
When I think that Jamal could beat up Ankalaev too, because Ankalaev's gonna try to start on the feet.
I know, he always does.
You can argue he shouldn't. But
yeah, he definitely should not. It makes no sense that he entertains the striking as much as he does.
He fancies himself a kickboxer. You know,
well, he's an idiot for that.
So for that reason, like if you told me Ankalaev was going to come out and have a wrestling heavy game plan, I would not like the Jamal Hill matchup. But I know he's not. He's going to try to stand and bang with him, and Jamal could easily send him to the fucking shadow realm. Now, I think the funnest fight to watch out of this whole Grand Prix would be somehow Blachowicz, Jamal Hill get matched.
Oh, that's easy though. That's an easy. I mean, if Hill wins, then Glover's not given an immediate rematch for any reason. He's off 2 losses in a row. Wouldn't even make sense. So then it's like if Blachowicz beats Ankalaev in their 3-round matchup, you do get Blachowicz Hill.
Yeah, I can see a scenario where they just do Ankalaev Hill though. If Ankalaev, even with like. Before they fight, you know what I'm saying?
They gotta run that back.
I agree. I would run it back.
And it's crazy Blachowicz didn't push harder to run it back.
Yeah, I think he did himself, and that's why I think that it won't happen because he didn't.
Like if he'd been sitting there like, no, like we need to fight again. Like I just got tired, or like gave any reason why the takedowns were happening. Or, like, even made the point of, like, his legs were so done that, like, I almost had him finish on the feet. Like, let me have it again and I won't waste time in the first round. Like, he could have said so many things.
Yes. But that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't think they're going to run it back, at least not immediately. I think if sometime in the future it's like in the Grand Prix shakes out a certain way where they kind of have to, I think they will. But by then, Prohaska's probably back. And then what do you do with Rakic this whole fucking this situation here? Oh, yeah, Rakic got hurt. That's how Blachowicz even beat him in the begin with.
Right,
so
right.
Him and Yuri's over there on the shelf, the island of misfit toys. You know what I'm saying?
But Rakic will be back, like, rather soon, I'm pretty sure, right? Wasn't that, like, 4 months ago? So he'll probably be back in the next 4 or 5 months, which is about the time this will all be playing out. So probably good timing for him anyway, because Yuri's going to be out for, like, a year.
Jamal Hill Rakic would be pretty fucking sweet. That'd be sweet.
Ankalaev Rakic, I think, would be sweet.
I like what we have here in light heavyweight division, though, because remember when we started this podcast, man, light heavyweight was thin, it was dead, it was on live support, nobody gave a fuck.
It was all the old names that were, like, clinging to rankings, and now, like, a lot of the young guys have, like, made their stake and claim through the... Like, there's 3 or 4 guys, like Rakic, Hill, Ankalaev, Yuri, that, like, re-energized the whole division.
The whole division, for sure, man. Yeah, all that old guard got swept out, cleaned out, and I love when that happens. Honestly, like I hate the lightweight divisions where they just get these big names, they just camp out in the top 5, nobody fights anybody.
And we
all think the best guys ranked like 10 to 12.
Then you have guys like Krylov and Span who are kind of still lurking at the back, but are starting to, like, hit their stride finally, whereas they weren't originally. And if Ryan Span's serious about he never trained but is starting to train, I cannot wait.
Yeah, like we cannot discount him for sure. Like we can't not really include him in the conversation. So much fun, and then honestly, everything I'm reading, hearing, listening to, seeing people tweet about, everyone's saying Pereira's going to 205. Like eventually, it may be this year, it may be next year, but like everyone's like, it's not even an if or a maybe. It's like he will go to 205.
I bet he went to 85 to avenge the Izzy, or to show he could beat Izzy, and then Glover's at 205, who's his training partner / like owner of the gym he works out at, so he's not gonna like go for his spot. But Glover's done in 1 or 2 more fights, guaranteed. So it makes sense.
So imagine we just had a fun conversation. Imagine we add Alex Pereira into the conversation. Alex Pereira,
Pereira Hill's fun too, because I wonder if Hill can get that one long straight shot, because he matches up well size wise.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, and the Prohaska matches up size wise. I mean,
hell, even a guy like Ryan Span's fun with a guy like Pereira if it happens like that, because of the intent, like because the guys at 205 are so much bigger. It seems more fair because Pereira is fucking huge.
And then Ankalaev is probably the best wrestler Pereira's ever fought.
That's a bad match if Ankalaev will just go for it.
Yeah, if he will go for it, exactly. And then, I mean, hell, Blachowicz Pereira is fucking awesome too. Like, there's the nuclear war. Who's gonna fucking launch their nuke first?
Can you imagine Alex Pereira, Paul Craig?
Don't want to.
I can't. Like, it's gonna be one of 2 things: like Paul Craig grabbing a leg and Pereira not being good enough at jiu-jitsu to get out. Or it's going to be Paul Craig getting starched out of his mind.
I'm over Paul Craig, to be honest. I had a little run. I won a few little bets off him. I'm over it.
You squeeze the juice and you're good?
Yeah, I'm good. Is there anybody at the bottom end of the division that we... Yeah, Span. Span's the guy.
Yeah.
Anybody outside looking in, it's going to be Span.
Yeah, because Roundtree is not quite to that level, but Span is.
No. And Krylov could make some fun fights, but I don't think he beats any of these.
I think Krylov can get to be like number 5 or 6 and be very entertaining, but I don't think he's ever going to get past a guy like Rakic. Like, I think that guy alone would hold him from ever being the belt holder. And I don't think Rakic is even the best guy, to tell you, what I'm saying.
For sure. And then you still got Anthony Smith hanging around here, who was booked against Jamal Hill.
We got to sweep him out.
Got leapfrogged.
It's not a good fight for Anthony Smith, by the way.
No, it's not, because he always takes a bunch of damage. So it's like, I don't know what you do with Anthony Smith. He's kind of like irrelevant in the division right now. He's kind of just taking up a spot. I mean, you could like Smith Krylov or something like that, or Smith Spann maybe and try to get Spann up the rankings a little bit, but I don't. Smith ain't making no title run with these guys. I mean, back whenever like Reyes was ranked 3 in that era, sure.
Yeah,
Smith,
agreed.
but this new wave, fuck.
They already passed him, man. They passed him, and he's getting older. And those fight miles are adding up big on Anthony Smith. You see it every time.
Oh, man, yes. No, I agree, bro. But this was a lot of fun. You know, I really enjoyed talking about all this. Probably more than I enjoyed watching the bullshit that took place.
Yeah.
But
2 Fight Night main cards, essentially.
After this breakdown, the prelims were 100% better than the main card.
Yeah, and it sucks because like paying for a card is only the 5 fights, but like the whole card as a whole was good. Like UFC 282 was good, but it's hard to say the pay-per-view portion was good, and that's what they're asking me to pay for. So
exactly, it does leave a bad taste in your mouth. But in no, like, I don't know, it's a weird. The saving grace is that Dana announced the Hill
Teixeira fight.
The sheriff fight, because usually on a night like this ends in a draw, injury, something weird, where he's like, oh, this is anticlimactic. We didn't get any answers. But at least we did, right? We know what's next, which is pretty rare in nights like that. So
yeah, no joke, man. But yeah, like you said, great episode. Hate to end a main event on the Paddy bullshit decision that was obviously a ruse and then a draw, but gave us fun stuff to talk about.
For sure, brother. Appreciate it, man. Next week is the last card of the year, and then there's like a 3 or 4. I think there's like a
4-week layoff. We have a whole month off. Yeah, kind of itching.
For sure.
Thank God there's a lot of football bowls.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank God. Hey, thanks for everybody that's watching. Checked out some of our other videos. We're here every week, breaking down every fight. Appreciate y'all.
So don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you guys next week for the last event of the year, and then the prime cuts will be occurring pretty much first week of January. So don't miss that.
Oh, yeah, that'll give us something to do. Hell yeah.
Yes, sir. See you guys.